Hawk Report number 4. Yes, welcome in, guys. This is the Hawk Report number 4. It's been a long couple of days. Lots of Discord messages, lots of organizing, lots of getting things ready. And then boom, right after the excellent report by DishNet, we are here for the Hawk Report number 4. So welcome in from Honolulu, Hawaii, Chicago, Illinois, Tokyo, Japan, Seoul, South Korea, or somewhere in between. Welcome, guys, to the Hawk Report number 4, or as I like to call it, the Step Brothers episode. Yes. So a few things to get out of the way before we bring in the one, the only, Your Kidneys. The affiliate streamathon still going on. I've seen a few messages asking how many more episodes of the streamathon are there? And there are a few more. It will be going all the way straight through 10 p.m. Eastern tonight with the FKN Commish LB finishing off the streamathon. So I want to thank everyone that's participated. I want to thank everyone that has been part of the streamathon, the OOTP development team, Rich Grisham for being on the kickoff yesterday with some of the affiliate streamers. And I want to thank Ezra Denny, not affiliated yet, but for filling in to fill one of the empty slots that we had earlier this morning. So thank you guys for following along, getting your drops, entering the contests. It's been quite the ride. So yes, the Hawk Report, if you're new to the Hawk Report, lots of things coming up, including a look back on the week that was. Kidneys and I will take a look back at some of the cards that maybe we might have overlooked in the previous episode. We will look at today's card set and pick our cards of the set. The Generation Showdown version 3 will come up. We'll open some packs, see if the Zoomer can get his first win of the showdown. And of course, the Kidney 2-minute rant. If we're still awake, big thank you to Kidneys who did some late night shifts last night. And I know some of you were watching Chess Safari, Nas, if you're in the chat right now, I know you guys have been, you pledged to try and watch every single hour of the streamathon. And it's probably taken a lot of coffee that you guys have gone through to get this far. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank DishNet for the release tonight, this morning. And if you missed it and you didn't get your drops off Dish or you entered halfway through, it will be repeated tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. So you can see it all again, or the parts that you may have missed, and pick up any drops that you may have missed from DishNet this morning. And again, a big shout out, big thank you to Gorgo 2005. He was on, he kicked off our show after the first hour, and memorable episode. Gorgo 2005, all the best from myself, from the community, I'm sure, from the affiliates in your path forward. Thank you so much. It was his 20th month anniversary of streaming Out of the Park baseball yesterday, and quite the kickoff to our marathon. So thank you, Gorgo 2005, and all the best moving forward. All right. Again, if you've just popped in, maybe you are watching, I don't know, EA Madden or EA NHL, or maybe you're watching Power Pros, some baseball action on another channel, and you've stumbled across OOTP and you have no clue what it's about. Well, OOTP is the best simulation baseball game on the market. Yes, many have come, many have gone, many are still there, but OOTP is simply the best. And you can play it on the mobile, on your device with OOTP Go. You can play it on Mac, on PC, on Steam, many different options for you. Simply go to the OOTP website and you'll find the link to purchase the game. Or maybe some of you have won copies of the game during the streamathon. If you've been a giveaway winner, just post it in the chat. Let us know if you have been one of the lucky giveaway winners over the last 24 hours. So yes, thank you to Out of the Park Developments and everyone affiliated with Out of the Park for allowing this streamathon to take place with all the giveaways. All right, speaking of giveaways, yes, there will be one towards the end of the stream. Kidneys and I will be doing a giveaway here, 20 packs to one user, a game code for another user. So stay tuned for that, as all the other affiliates have done. We will do that, and then we will raid into the good doctor. Dr. Dynastic will be following, the man with the broadcasting voice. Not sure what he has on the docket today, but I'm sure it's something that will hold your interest for the 2 hours that he will be on. And then I believe it's Tesuiji is back on. And then we have the commish, as I mentioned earlier, and Dishnet again will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern for a replay. All right, it is time to bring in the one, the only, the man whose walk-up song is David Lee Roth's I'm Just a Gigolo. Welcome to the stream, Your Kidneys. You remember that song, Zoomer, Just a Gigolo?
Yeah, I'm totally not Googling it to see what it is, because I've probably never heard it in my life.
Oh, yes. David Lee Roth from, some Van Halen background as well. Yeah, maybe you want to sing the first few lyrics to get us started. It's kind of like our national anthem.
I don't know the first few lyrics to sing them. I'm very sorry.
Very tired.
I did say yesterday when you asked the question to Rich, I think, or somebody asked the question to Rich what his walk-up song would be. Mine would be I'm Too Pretty for This by Claire Rosenkrantz, which is an excellent song. It's on my Hot Girl Summer playlist, as I am a hot girl and this is my summer. Hello, everybody. If you missed it, I streamed till 6:30 a.m. because it was funny to do. That's about it.
Yes, Kidneys was only scheduled to stream till I think like 4 or something like that.
4 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, but Kidneys, once you rev that motor up, it just keeps on going. And there was that gap in the schedule. The 7th inning stretch, Kidney said, "We're not going to have any of that. We're going to keep going."
No.
And Kidneys went right into Extra Forest. So thanks for all the time you put in there, Kidneys. And I do have to ask, since this is the Step Brothers episode, have you seen the movie?
No. Which really should not surprise anyone.
I am going to have to give Kidneys some homework before every episode. You must watch this movie. All right. Yes, Will Ferrell, and I can't remember the other actor's name. He's been in a few Will Ferrell movies. But yeah, a comedy from probably about, I'm thinking 10 to 15 years ago. And do you have any siblings, Kidneys?
Yeah, I have an older brother. I do.
You have an older brother? Okay, well, I have a younger brother, so we've got that little bit of common. And I prefer to be the older brother because when we were younger, you could boss him around a little bit. Did you get bossed around by your older brother?
No. It was the complete opposite. I mean, I was a little... We're about the same size, but I was a little bigger as a younger kid. We're only 18 months apart. But I was like the super try-hard, responsible goody two-shoes, and he was a little bit of a troublemaker. So we didn't get along a lot as kids, but we're really good friends now. But we'd get in fights over literally everything. I mean, we're brothers. That's what you do, right? So.
Oh yeah. And his
I do want to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to say to Chat, who's like, isn't that a more recent movie? Chat, I was like 10 years old when that movie came out. I don't think it probably would have been age appropriate for a 10-year-old to watch that movie when it came out. I'm just gonna age check y'all a little bit real quick. So,
how about Talladega Nights? Did you see that movie?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what that is. I don't know how to spell it.
Talladega.
That's roughly how it sounds. Talladega Nights.
Nights. Not the
that one I knew, unless it was like about medieval
nights.
Times.
Yeah.
The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. I mean, I'm a big Will Ferrell fan, so it's probably a good
right.
movie.
Yeah, definitely some good laughs in both Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. So hey, maybe if you
Is Is that the Mountain Dew quote?
Plus, they're racing at Talladega this weekend. Well, there you go. That's a little bit of synchronicity there. Things are matching up. So, have you ever watched NASCAR? Are you a big NASCAR fan?
I used to be when I was a kid, so a lot of the time the Daytona 500, I don't know if it's always on the same day. If it is, it's on my birthday. It's on my birthday a lot. And so that was something I would do quite a bit. I really liked NASCAR as a kid.
So Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman.
I know Johnson. I don't know Newman, or I've forgotten Newman. I really liked some of kind of the villains. I didn't like...
Dale Earnhardt
what was
Jr.?
the guy's name? Harvick? I didn't like Harvick. I think I liked
Harvick.
Kyle Busch, which I know is probably just as controversial to NASCAR people. So,
yeah. I guess you're a little bit young for maybe the Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon. You kind of grew up with the Harvick and the Kyle Busch, and he had a brother.
He had
too,
Jimmy Johnson still, I'm pretty sure, but I don't
think
I had
Lowe's
Ryan
number
Newman.
48 car. Remember that Lowe's car?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
All right. Well, a little bit of an icebreaker here. We're not going to test Kidneys today. He's had a long night. We don't want to make him answer any trivia questions. But if you're new to the Hawk Report, Kidneys and I, again, come from different generations. I am from the Gen X generation, from the mid-60s to the mid-70s. Kidneys is from the Generation Z, or as the young kids like to say, the Zoomer generation. So he was born after 1996. So yes, we do have a little differences. We grew up in different times. We've seen different parts of history. And I gave him a quiz last week. He's probably going to give me a quiz in a future episode, and I'll probably bomb that one. But yeah, we do have some differences. So the only icebreaker question I'm going to ask you, Kidneys, is if you could grow up in any time period, any of the decades over the last 100 years, is there a time period that you would like to have grown up in? And while you're thinking about it, I was an 80s kid, and I grew up in the 80s, and I don't think I would trade that in, because I loved growing up in the 80s. I loved the rock music from the 80s. And yeah, we had the big hair, and the girls had the big hair, and we had the neon colors and those kind of things at our dances. But if you could grow up during any of these time periods, considering that you're staying in that time period, you're going to miss out on everything, 60, 70 years later, what time period would you choose?
Modern day. I mean, if you're asking, like, if 10-year-old me would have given up his iPad and not been able to play Infinity Blade on it, the answer is always no. One of the greatest games ever made. Not a lot of people know about it. You can't buy it anymore, but it's basically was Dark Souls roguelike on your phone. Some people will know what those words mean. It was a fantastic game. So
you would still choose the modern day. Interesting. All right.
Yeah, just for Infinity Blade, no other reason whatsoever.
Okay, well, how about if we could transport you back just for a few days, just to live a few days in that time period?
Most of the older ones would probably be real miserable, like the really old ones. So we're gonna ignore those because I need Allegra. So I don't know. What would I go with out of like the past 50, 70 years? Maybe 80s. I don't know why. Maybe
back
80s.
To the 80s?
Actually, no. I would do 70s. I'd like go watch Star Wars when it came out or something like that. That would be my solution.
In the late 70s. Well, I could see, with the old tennis armbands, and you got the headband like John McEnroe, who was a tennis player, Kidneys. Very famous tennis player.
Never heard of him.
Who had the... Oh, yes. This definitely is showing the generation gap. But yeah, we, in the 70s and 80s, the tennis players had these, big white headbands to absorb the sweat, and they had the different armbands too. And just such different times. And I think those in the chat would have, I don't want to go back to the 20s and 30s. That was the, dirty 30s and the Great Depression, and life was, pretty miserable for many people back then. And like I said, I'd stick with the 80s, maybe the 50s. I don't know if anyone in chat grew up here in the 50s as a young kid, but it seems like kind of a cool time to grow up based on what I've seen in movies. All right. You ready? You ready to start?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. And feel free if you need a pillow, every once in a while to lay your head down.
I slept for a whole 5 hours. So
5 hours. Wow. That's pretty good. All right. Let's go to our beginner's guide. Again, as a streamer, one thing I always like to do is to try and give some advice, some input for those that are just starting with the game. So if you're in chat here and you're playing Perfect Team for the first time with OOTP 24, put it in the chat. Type a 1 if you are playing Perfect Team for the very first time. You just got into it over the last month. If this is only your second year, type a 2 in the chat. If you played OOTP 23, but this is going to be your first full year, let us know how many kind of the beginner levels that we have. Gabagoo Luigi, I don't think is a beginner. YourKidnies. Okay, now you guys are seriously trolling me. Wildcat Bandit. Okay, Wildcat Bandit. I honor his input there because I believe that his second year in the game, Mr. Ree is second year, Geoman is second year, Pockets ain't full. Well, there's only been 5 versions now, so unless you got a real early beta copy, I don't think you've been in it for 6 years. All right, so we do have some beginners.
Oh no, you could play 6 because 19 we had half a perfect team, so 19, 20, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 6.
Yeah. Okay. So right from the very beginning, and I've played right from the very beginning too, even though that first one was a very, very short experience. Let's see, 19. 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, this would be the 6th year.
Yeah,
exactly.
Isn't that crazy? Wow.
It is. Yeah. It and it's come such a long way in terms of the card art, in terms of the numbers playing
shop, tournaments, all sorts of things. Very, very cool.
Yeah. All right. So one thing I hear a lot in Discord, and I get questioned on by beginners a lot, they hear this term live spec, that people are talking, I'm going to live spec and I'm going to make some perfect points. And I'm going to build up my, bank reservoir in OOTP by live specking. Can you kind of give a brief annotated version of what does the community mean by live spec?
Yeah, there's a few things. I think there's a lot of common misconceptions about it too. So live spec, what happens on the first Monday of every month, right? First Monday of every month, or it might be the second Monday this month. We're unsure because it's on May 1st, so we're a little unsure. I know we asked that yesterday. Anyway, cards that are live cards will have their ratings change based on how they're performing in real life. It is not like a direct one-to-one. A few things need to happen, which is very important. The reason this is a big deal is because, like it says on the screen, right, you can quick sell the cards for bigger prices, right? So if I buy Matt Chapman for less than 4,000 points and he goes up to a diamond, I just sell him for 4,000 points, right? It's very simple. So you can make a ton of money doing it this way. There's a few things I don't think a lot of people get. So when the cards are created out of the park, historically, they've been created off and out of the park zips projection. It's a little different than the Fangraph zips most of the time, but Fangraph zips is what most people use as an estimate. You then want to take the zips and compare it to how they're actually doing, but do things that make sense. Don't just be like, oh, this card is a high batting average or a high WOBA or whatever. Do like, okay, if this player has this walk rate per plate appearance and Zips has him at this walk rate per plate appearance, and he's doing better than the Zips, his I is probably going up, right? And so do that step for like the main ratings on a card. And that's how you live spec, whether a card's going to go up or down, because they go down too, right? And then there's sometimes you need to sell cards, right, instead. So it's pretty simple. If anybody would like probably StatHead, which I know there's an out of the park deal with StatHead, or like a Fangraphs membership, you can just put all this stuff in an Excel sheet, and it might take you a day to set it up. You'll make a ton of money off of it as the year goes on. So,
all right. And in terms of, how someone can, they can obviously come into Discord and ask questions, and there's a lot of people willing to share kind of their research and information. There are streamers, affiliates, I'm sure, that as we get closer to the date, we'll be doing videos on it. But one other way that new beginners can look into cards that may go up in value, may go up to a diamond, may go up to a perfect, is going into the game itself. And one thing that OOTP allows you to do now is to create a new game start with the current date in Major League Baseball. So this morning, I started up a new game start with the April 20th real Major League Baseball standings. And it brings everything in. I've talked about this on my channel before, but for those new people out there, this is a great resource to kind of do your own beginner look into which players may go up or may go down and you might want to invest in. So when I load up the game, it's got the Tampa Bay Rays, who just are having a season of all seasons, 16-3. And it shows that right in the gameplay. And you can continue on the season with the OOTP engine and play it out and see how things shake out. You can go through all the different divisions. Twins up in the Central. We've got the Rangers, surprisingly, in the AL West. NL East, the Twins. Central, we've got Milwaukee at 14-5. And we've got the NL West, Arizona at 11-8. At the beginning of the season here, Kidneys, which team, I mean, Tampa probably is the one that surprises you the most. Who would be next?
No, not Tampa doesn't surprise me at all. I'm surprised it does too. Are you a Blue Jays fan? I think so, right?
Yes.
So are you really not surprised by Tampa like vastly overperforming and being this juggernaut of a team in one of the toughest divisions in baseball? Because I felt like they've done this every year for like the past 6 years now, right? I'm really not too surprised by them. I think my dark horse in the East right now is the Orioles. I think I looked at the standings on my stream during the marathon and I pointed out the Rangers and somebody said, yeah, but it doesn't count. They're playing the Athletics all the time. So I think maybe we should hold off on the Rangers a little bit for now. But no, it looks pretty similar. Certainly Arizona looks very good to start this year. And I'm a little interested to see how well they can hold on. They're in a very hard division, obviously. That's going to get harder with like, maybe if Soto heats up or Tatis comes back when he comes back. And like, I think it's the middle of this week, actually. So it'd be very interesting to see.
I just think it's really cool that you can start up a game file and have all these stats, game scores, the box scores from each of the games. Well, actually, no, the box scores, I guess, do not input. I thought they did. I guess that would be too intensive to do that.
It would probably be a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But you do have the scores. You have the current injuries in the game as well. And you can play out the rest of the season. But in terms of speculating, you can go to the league leaders, and here are the current major league leaders. And again, you can go through and look at who is having an outstanding beginning to their season. And as you mentioned, Matt Chapman is one of them. And I believe the card was an 88, wasn't it, Kidneys?
Yep. So it's on the. So another thing, there's a few other things to take into account when live specking, right? How far they have to go, because a 60 overall that's doing as well as a 69 overall. The 69 overall has to go up 1 point to go to silver. It's a lot easier. I will also say, how much you have to spend on the card factors in too, right? Like if I have to spend 101 points to get a bronze card, it's probably not going to gold. Why would I spend 101 points on it when a silver quick sells for 100, right? So a lot of time it's like about buying cards really cheaply. And then it's, converting. Again, you really want to do zips versus actual stats. You want to do direct comparisons of the ratings that matter, right? So, yeah.
And by the time that a lot of, users find out which cards are the cards you want, the price has gone up already, so it might not be worth it to invest in it. Something like stolen bases. Mateo is one of the league leaders in stolen bases right now, and he has an iron, I think it's a 54 iron card. Do you think that he's hitting 362. He's near the top of the league in stolen bases. Can you see this card immediately jump from an iron to a gold? Or is that too big of a jump for 1 month in the season?
I think like the biggest jump outside of relief pitchers are a little volatile, we've ever seen is like somewhere around 13 points. You normally don't see more than that. Because how it also kind of works, from my understanding of it, is like as the season goes on, you take away less of the projection and use more of the real stats, right? So this first month, it's what, like a seventh or an eighth, like a seventh of the season. It's not gonna like they're not just gonna look like exactly how they're performing in real life, or like Adam Duvall would be a perfect with 30 plate appearances. So Mateo's also kind of interesting to me because historically stolen bases they didn't even move in older games. I think they did move a little bit last year, like the stealing ratings, but be very interesting to see how they're going to adjust this year with so many more players stealing, things like that. There's a lot of things to learn, every year isn't straight up different. I think it's pretty reasonable Mateo could go to be a bronze card, but I mean, making the jump to silver would be like, 16 points? Probably not on the table. Probably not, so...
But if the pace kept up, then over the course of 2 or 3 months, he could get up to that gold. Diamond, for what I've seen with his ratings, probably not going to happen. He would have to have a season of the ages, probably get up to diamond. But gold maybe is a strong possibility, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things depend on it too. Like, it really depends on what Zips thinks of him at the start of the season. We had a case in PT21 where, if people remember, or PT22, I'm sorry, which was the year 2021, where Aroldis Chapman started the year with like a 23K per nine and had a negative FIP, and the live update came out and we're like, he's going perfect. He went down. And I think a lot of people need to realize, it's not exactly Zips projections as well, but sometimes cards projections are quite high. Like, it's going to be very hard for somebody like Aaron Judge to maintain his power number after what he did last year, and a bunch of things like that. So even factoring in some things, like, I don't know, does Mateo actually have a high walk rate, or is like the 5 walks he had, is that actually lower than his projected walk rate? Like, I don't know, but those are the kind of things you really want to go into to say, where is this card going up and down on the ratings, right?
And as it says on the screen there too, you're only allowed a maximum 10 to purchase. I guess you can purchase up to a limit of 10. However, if you pull more in packs, you can accumulate. There are, cases of people that speculate and just rip a lot of packs, and they have 15, 20, 30, 35. Spencer Strider's from last year is one example that really went up in value. So 10 you can max out on the card shop, but you can continue to add to that by opening them and keeping them in packs.
And that's a great point too. If you really want to rip for live spec, which I know people do, go buy 10 of every good card first. Go buy 10 of every card you think is going to go up, and then rip, and you'll actually do pretty well. Historically, it hasn't been a terrible thing once you've finished your live spec to then rip on top of it. So.
And I guess the opposite's true, Kidneys, that if you have some perfect cards, you got to consider speculation on those too, because perfects can't go up any higher. If the player's injured, they're going to stay at that level. But there are going to be some of these perfect cards we see on screen that, because of their April, they may drop to a mid-high diamond, correct? And you may want to sell them if you're not using them.
Right, perfects can't go up, which is a big thing to note. It's pretty risky to hold a perfect. The exceptions would be like, I've trained my Judge and Trout. I'm never going to sell them. I don't care if they go to gold. It's always risky to hold perfects. It's one thing to kind of remember, and this is a little hard to evaluate, but not all perfects are created equal. It's not probably the same degree for one guy to go from perfect to diamond than it is for another guy to go perfect to diamond. And some cards, even if they go down, will probably stay perfect, right? So that's a thing, to think about, right?
And the chat is given the advice of selling Soto now. Before
I'm not super sold on selling Soto right away, and I haven't looked at the numbers, and I know he's not doing great, but historically, things like BABIP don't fluctuate as much, and if you look at some of his Savant stuff, he's actually looks like he's getting quite unlucky. Last I checked a few days ago, so I don't think Soto is like this crazy, just panic sell yet. He may turn it around. I mean, we still have 10, 15 days to go, right? So,
and another clue you can see, kind of what the collective thoughts are on certain cards and speculation, because all you have to do is go and look at the buy orders. With Matt Chapman, who you mentioned, we've got 8, 10, 16, we've got 20 buy orders on Matt Chapman. Now, some of them are for probably to complete the missions, maybe 1 or 2 because Blue Jays might be their favorite team, but the majority of these are probably for speculation, aren't they?
yeah, no, it's completely speculation. I mean, it's a little funny the first month to always judge because a lot of people are still doing the live missions. I haven't finished my live missions yet. I do think as it goes on, it's a lot easier to tell. But remember, if you can buy a card for near quick sell and it goes up, you make a lot more money, right? You make a lot more money. And like Spora said, perfects are genuinely the better players. I think historically we've seen some updates where 5 or 6 has moved, but also kind of as the season goes on, we add a few more perfects. The old way it seemed to work was there was a slot system where you could only have so many at a time, but as you gained more cards, you could have more. I'm not sure this year. We like doubled the amount of diamonds from last year. It seems a little different. We'll just have to wait and see in some aspects of it.
And this is where you can make a lot of money or a lot of perfect points. Someone like Vlad Guerrero, some of these players that are high diamonds, that all they need is 1 or 2 to be boosted up to a perfect. And so Vlad, none are available in the card shop right now, but if he goes perfect, that's 20,000 perfect points. So if you can buy him for 7,000 or 8,000, you're more than doubling your investment. That's probably the most potentially biggest gain. As you said earlier, buying an iron and it goes up to bronze, you're going from what, 5 to 25, right? That even if you have 40 of them, you're not making a lot of perfect points. But if you purchase 10 Vlads and you doubled your perfect points or more, that's where you can make the big price of return.
Yeah, few things. The biggest price of return is silver to gold. If you can buy a silver for near quick sell, you make almost 10 times your money. That's crazy. I think a lot of people like to do gold to diamond. Gold to diamond is, it's a bigger number for the time you put in, but it's like percentage wise not as good as some of the others. Trout last year had a crazy season. I don't think people realize how many home runs. I know people are talking about that. 40 home runs in 120 games is absurd. Trout never should have gone down. Also, injured players don't really move. I couldn't remember if we've seen a scenario where because of the older kind of slot system, a player has moved after being injured, but they generally kind of lock in their ratings, so you probably won't see Edwin Diaz leave perfect. I do think something to note, though, is Fernando Tatis is coming back, and his Zips projections are so high, it may not even matter what he does over 5-10 days. He probably is a perfect or a high diamond, and that might throw a wrench in some people's plans as well. So.
And here's another case of a highly speculated card. It's at 79. It only needs 1 more to get to that gold, as you said, going from 100 to 1,000 perfect points. And, there's 10 maximum at 410 that they're willing to buy. So someone wants Spencer Steer for speculation. A lot of people do. Yeah.
I've seen 2 comments respond to what I just said. One said Diaz won't move, and the other said, wait, Diaz is going to move. Diaz is like 99% not going anywhere. He'll be a perfect card. I don't really know where you'd play Diaz, but if you want to play Diaz, it's probably his ratings will not move, right? So
yeah.
Again, though, it's like why? Also, it's kind of more like to me. Why would I keep an Edwin Diaz during a live update? Because he's a perfect card, right? And I'm not training him, so I think that would just be the safer thing to think, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
All right. Well, for those of you that are new and were wondering what live speculation is, that's what it is using your perfect points to buy cards, hopefully while they're still fairly low in value, and then building up your perfect points to buy the cards that you really want to use for your league or for your tournament teams. All right. Any other closing comments on live spec there, Kidneys?
I think that's most of it. So I
Okay.
think we're good.
And as you said, there's other websites that you can go to find out, more information, dig into the numbers a little bit. I know OOTP promotes StatHead quite a bit. You've mentioned Fangraphs, lots that they can go to and do their own research. All right, Let's go back and take a look at a card or two that after a week, some looking back impressed us, or maybe we have different thoughts about. For me, mine is a very simple one because I play a lot of bronze tourneys, and it is the Dink Motho card. I love this card. I think this is for the value, especially at the lower levels, the ultimate card that you want to get, especially for your bronze tournaments. I don't know about cap tournaments and things like that because I don't play those. Multiple positions. I've always had him hit, high 280s plus in terms of average, get on base, even steal some bases, not commit a lot of errors. This card, I think, is amazing for those that play at the lower levels and in tournaments. And I know you agree with that, correct?
Izadafo said it really, really well last night during, I don't know, sometime at like 3 to 5 in the morning when this card came up. This is arguably the best bronze card ever printed in Perfect Team. Not just because of like how good its bat is, or its second base glove, or its third base glove, or its corner outfield glove, or the fact that it can catch, but it's like a legit contender at pretty much every position on the card, all 6 or 7 of them at once. And it is like the best right fielder and the best second baseman if you just don't platoon, which you probably should platoon, and one of the better catchers. I mean, this card is so good. Nothing but good things to say about this card. If you have a bronze team, I don't really know what format. Pretty much every single bronze format, you should play this card. It is incredible.
Yeah, even probably over the Bruce Petway card, correct? Because Bruce Petway is a very good bronze level catcher from the NEL League, but this you're probably going to use him over Bruce.
I don't think I would, because I think the thing is, when you have a card like this, right, one of the big things to think about, right, is like not where does this card play, where is it the best, but the gap between 1 and 2, right? So Bruce to me is one of the cards that actually kind of holds its own against Dink. And to me, I'm probably playing this card in right field because I don't think bronze right field is very strong. So it's almost less of like how good Dink is and like what's the next best card to Dink in a way, which is really silly to say about a bronze card, but it's a very fun card with a beautiful name. I'm a big fan. I really am.
Yeah. I love this card last year, and again, this version is great. Someone in the chat asked if there's any update about the live. Last we heard from Rich himself was that we were 2 to 3 weeks away from live coming in. So I'm assuming that timeline is still kind of on track here. So probably not until maybe early to mid-May is when we're going to have that live edition added to OOTP. Your card that you want to look back on was one of the build a lineup silver cards, and that was Kenley Jansen. Tell us a little bit kind of what you're thinking now compared to when it came out.
I liked this card when it came out. I didn't really have spreadsheets set up. If y'all missed the marathon stream, all my announcements and things, I have spreadsheets set up now. This card is kind of ludicrous in the sense where it's like probably on average high diamond level pitcher on a 73. So I think a lot of the time, if I have extra cap points, this is one of the cards I want to squeeze on my team. Nobody gets a hit against this card. It's got respectable everything and really, really good BABIP, except kind of that control VR, but it's just a top-notch, fantastic card. If it's an open format that can use this, it probably plays all the way even into actual open formats. If it's a cap, it's almost always hard to justify spending points on a cap bullpen arm ever. But like, if you're gonna play Keith Falk, play Kenley Jansen instead. So.
All right, so get your as we probably go to the card shop and see all the Jansens being scooped up here. I'm sure his value is probably pretty high on the card shop
High already.
Yeah,
it's a great card.
Well, let's get to some of the newer cards this week, cards that were not around in the Hawk Report number 3, and we did have 2 limited editions. And Dishnet this morning talked about the availability. I didn't quite catch the number. I think he said 3 of 1, and I don't know how many are left of this one here. But Buttercup
hasn't gone off yet, so I can't tell you.
Buttercup Dickerson. One of the great names in the game, Buttercup. I looked at the card shop earlier, and he's going for a really high price for a silver card. As expected, it's limited edition. I don't play silver tournaments. I have no idea how this card would perform there. Give us your take. Looks like a really solid card for a silver.
I can double check. I've had a few tweaks to things over the past 24 hours. So I should probably look again before I talk. Yeah, I have this card. It's really... Oh, wait. Where is he here? Oh, interesting. So this card is like, he's a bit better VR. And he's like number 5 VR in right field and like number 9 in right field versus left. Which, funny enough, puts him at number 1 in right field in silver when you add 5 and 9 together, because that's how math works. A lot of the silver outfielders are very, very splitty. I don't have this card being like crazy better than the other cards. It's like very close to probably Kimbrough, Reggie Smith. If you're platooning, you'd probably pay like Pasqua, the other LE, and then like Justin Upton would be, I think, the ideal right field scenario. But you can certainly play this in silver. It's a solid card. It'll be fine. I wouldn't play it in center. I don't think it has like the bat to compete with Chu, and the glove is not really a center field glove either. So I think this is
pretty cool.
A competitive right field option. So
I've seen a few people comment in the chat that they've pulled this card, including the number 1, and DA186, a fellow affiliate streamer, said that he pulled the Buttercup card as well. And Chess Safari, thanks for the update. Dish said that 12 out of 100 had been pulled, so still a lot of these silver cards out there. Next one,
it's a good card. I don't think it's a 25k silver to me. Sounds like a bit much, but like, you could play this. You could play Kimbrough both ways, or do a platoon like Pasqua, Berkman, Upton, Harper, Upton, something like that. Something Upton if it's a platoon. Upton's very good.
Is that what he's going for in the card shop? 25?
My thing that I pulled like an hour ago says, so it has a very dumbly complicated formula that basically says the cheapest between P10 and sell order, and he says 25k right now. So that would be the cheapest way you could probably get this card. So.
All right, and Chalupa Pants said he just pulled the number 19, so 19 of them.
People ripping then right now. We got 7 gone since the stream or whenever Dish had the numbers. So,
yeah, that's still quite a few out there. And the other one, I believe 3 of 25 have been pulled for Mark Burley. And again, a great pitcher during his time, known for his Chicago White Sox days. Also, I think finished his career in Toronto. What do you think? It's going for a lot, kidneys. This is a sought-after card. Is it a top 5 pitching card, starting pitching card in the game so far?
Oh man, if you're gonna put me on the spot like that, I need to make sure I say the right thing. Hold on. Let's just triple check. This on. I need a little faster way to interface this. Probably. There's a few things about this card that are pretty obvious when you look at it that are nice to like. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of runners off the bases. The question wasn't, if it's good. It was, is it top 5? It's probably top 5. I'm shooting myself in the foot a little bit because I want one of this card. Somebody outbid me by 1K, and then the card sold to them, which made me very sad. JDA doesn't have it that high. That's interesting. I'd be curious who you have higher. JDA's got some fantastic models as well. I'm pretty convinced I would play this over most of the other cards in the game. It certainly is up there in contention for like best diamond card, best diamond pitcher, right? It's a really, really strong card. I love Mark Burley as a pitcher. I think he always is really underrated. Probably should have been a Hall of Famer. I hope it happens at some point. So
all right. Well, we're going to get on to today's card sets. We are coming up on the big break here at Kidneys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all the recent followers. We have a lot of cards to talk about, plus the showdown, plus Kidneys Rant, all coming up in the second part of the show, guys. So we will be back after the break. Go get a coffee, go to the washroom, go get a bite to eat. Kidneys, take a quick cat nap. We will be back in about 3 minutes. Talk to you guys soon. All right, we are back with the Hawk Report episode number 4. If you're just joining in, as always, Your Kidneys is here. Make sure you go and follow Your Kidneys. I'm sure you are already, but Your Kidneys, if you haven't come across his Twitch stream yet, go follow, go watch the videos on demand from the last few hours. A wealth of information.
Maybe we had some shenanigans. It was very late. I was probably slurring my words. I was very tired. It was a long stream. So maybe don't watch that one, but do watch some other ones. I do.
All right.
I do
Okay.
have some
So
nice
so
things.
maybe skip the last one. Discord, Your Kidneys. You have a Discord, a very active community. Maybe talk a little bit about that before we get going again.
Yeah, I mean, if you are like into Perfect Team and you want to get better and be competitive and see all my really nerdy spreadsheet stuff, consider joining my Discord channel. It's really good. We have a lot of active people there. I think it's one of the best ones for Out of the Park you can get into. If you need an invite to it, you can just DM me or whatever. I'll hit you up. My DMs are always open on Discord. If you want to talk the game or anything, let me know.
Yeah. And if you want to send me the link, Kidneys, I can on Discord, and then I can put it in the chat as we get going here. So, all right. Today's sets, the April Heroes. Again, we're not going to go in depth on every single card here. I do have them all up on the screen here that I'll quickly kind of go through. If there's any that kind of tweak your interest, just kind of let me know and we can pause on it for a little bit. Of course, starting with the 71 Philadelphia Phillies pitcher, not very splitty at all. Silver cards are probably, in terms of rating and understanding where they play, is probably the weakest part of my evaluation of cards. Again, I don't play silver tournaments. I don't use silver cards that often unless they're extremely meta, like George Kell, who I loved last year, even though he wasn't meta. He always did well for my team, even into Diamond. Anything you want to mention? I'll quickly go through. Let's start with Vince.
Vince is like, to me, kind of BC tier. Probably would play him. But he's not like there's people are playing some pretty bad cards in silver right now, so he might be an upgrade for you specifically. Generally, right now, what I'm looking for is probably a little bit more PBAB on a card. That's really the delta for me here.
Okay. Moving right to Michael Waka.
Oh, I didn't realize. I forgot this is Waka. So this is like a very fun reverse split card. I can see if it shows up VL. I mean, it's actually a really good right-handed pitcher VL. Kind of the greater issue is it's a really bad right-handed pitcher VR. And even though historically in Perfect Team, as the season progresses, we'll see righties play a lot more lefties. Right now, there's still a lot of righties in the meta, even accounting for switch hitters. Not the time for this card, certainly. And kind of overall, it's probably just a little bit too low, but it is like a lefty specialist that's a righty. Not sure why you'd want that, but maybe somebody out there is cooking with it.
Yeah, very interesting splits on that one. The next silver card was Jose Reyes. Very interesting card as well in terms of the splits that we see here versus left speed.
Yeah, so one of the things to think about cards with really good hitting, right? Like really good BABIP, contact hitting, right? This card says BABIP, it says Ks, it says gap, contact hitter. You need really good defense to pair with it, right? Because if BABIP is good and like contact is good, defense is going to matter. Now, this is, I think, probably the best silver card here. I probably wouldn't play it at shortstop, but my model is kind of like, hey, you could do it if you really want to. It doesn't really think anybody's anywhere near Bill Hall for reference. But you could try it if you want to. I'm not really sure. The stolen bases are probably a bit higher than I'm projecting. But the defense is just the deal breaker for me. It's probably a similar bat value to Bill Hall, but then Bill Hall also is like this defense with 94, 95 range or something like that. So I think it's just a little short.
So if you're doing perfect drafts, you probably before you even get to silver, you want to make sure you have a much better shortstop, don't you?
Maybe, actually, I go pretty late on shortstops a lot of the time. I think some of the nice things about the defense position, so to me, that's shortstop, second, catcher, center, right? Up the middle. you can get a card in bronze that has like, this really ridiculous glove that doesn't do anything else, but it'll still be a valuable card, right? And so a lot of times, unless I get like a no-brainer or I have a round with only one or two options, this is a card you could probably perfect draft and it would be okay. If you really wanted to, again, some people are going to be a lot more scared of those defensive numbers being that low compared to me. But I'm the guy who just says, I'm going to sort by war and hope I'm getting the accurate numbers.
And this year's version of the game, Kidneys, we're really seeing a lot of those bronze iron cards with spectacular defense, but no bat. Was it Herman Long? Is that the shortstop that I'm thinking of in bronze? That's really good at, And then there's a lot of center fielders that, again, really good defense, but just no bat. So it's kind of a unique year that year. And you definitely can get a backup much later in a perfect draft. You don't have to get two really good ones early.
Yeah, I think in previous perfect teams before 23, it was pretty common for the low-level cards to have really good defense. And in 23, after the whole Silver Ozzy thing in 22, they were like, yeah, I don't think we're going to make low-tier cards have good defense. And they just like didn't do it for almost an entire year. And now it's back. So I don't really know. I personally think the cards that are just glove a lot of the times are kind of noob traps. I think like Herman Long, who you brought up, yes, Herman Long has a good glove, but Herman Long also has a bit of power and eye. And so you could play somebody like Greg Gagne, right, who is just glove, and he's the best glove in bronze. But I would much rather you play somebody that actually hits the baseball a little bit. You're going to get some more value out of that. So,
yeah. All right, next we move on to the last iron card, and that was Pazos, not sure how you pronounce his name, from the Seattle Mariners. And this is a really interesting split. Like, I'm really curious on your take, because very good against lefties in some ways, but good against righties in other ways. What is your take on this reliever card?
It's almost definitely going to be a lot better VL, just because the BABIP split. I don't really want to play any card with 56 VR right now. And it's the home run that split VR, which is kind of funny looking. In some ways, it works out being a lefty pitcher. In other ways, home run's a little hard to sell for me right now. It seems like the more you put into it, almost the less it's giving out. I don't really. I have this being like an okay silver reliever. As a lefty, how would he chart then overall? Because he's at 8. You could probably play him if you really wanted to. He's not in like my top cut of cards. But I do think, funny enough, this card is like passable both ways. In like an open silver type format, he comes up probably like in the 25 to 30 range. It's certainly something you could play if you want to.
All right, moving on to the gold cards. Frank Smith, kind of from that dead ball era. Again, we've got, for a beginner, the eye test. I look at that home run, I look at the pitcher BABIP, both, almost all 90s or higher, low control, mediocre to low stuff. What do you think?
So being having just done a whole bunch of work researching gold data, this card would come out just below league average for me as a gold starter. I think it's okay. I think one of the things to note is this is a really interesting one because it is kind of reverse split with BABIP and stuff, so it's going to limit a lot more contact versus lefties. So against lefties, it's like righty number 7. The problem is righties, like pitchers this year, seem extraordinarily splitty. Maybe hitters too. And it's like righty number like 70, 80 in gold VR, and that's just probably not going to get the job done. If the meta shifts and righties start playing a lot more lefties, it's probably an above average gold starter, but just not at the moment, I don't think.
All right. And Matt Moore, speaking of starters, this time a left-handed pitcher, 84 rated gold, high stuff, high pitcher BABIP. You going to play this one?
Yeah, this one's good. It's not like the best gold pitcher, but it's certainly, I'd probably say this is like a B tier, above average. It's like a top 10 lefty in the format right now. This is a really good card. If I got this in a perfect draft, I'd be very happy to see this in a gold round. So very solid card here.
And Nass said that he just pulled a Moore. Congratulations. If it's the Matt Moore that we have on screen here, according to Kidneys, you've got a gem from today's set. So congratulations.
Oh, did he steal Pop Lloyd's sack bunt? I see a nice round 100 in the bottom. Maybe we found it, guys.
Yes, this pitcher can bunt in the AL.
Yeah, we got quite a few no DH perfect drafts this year. They're kind of sneaky. It's not like only a no DH era, so keep an eye out for those. Maybe you let them bunt a little bit here.
I agree. Sometimes you get tricked by you just look at the year and you're going with the era. You got to read a little further to see if that DH is going to be involved, because sometimes you miss that and then you're drafting all these power guys that you're going to use at DH and you can't use them.
Well, somebody pointed out to me last night when we were doing some perfect drafts is that you can always click on the lineup. You can actually go edit your lineups and your rotation in the draft, but if you click on the lineup, it will say on the lineup like right-handed plus DH or right-handed no DH. So you can actually check when you're in the draft if you forget, which is quite nice.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because I was always hoping they put something at the top of the draft to remind you of what the settings were. So you click on the little baseball, I think, on the menu side there, and it will show you. Okay, cool. I'll have to try that out. All right, Lou Brock. Lou Brock, a great baseball player from the 60s and 70s. Great speed, left field defense, But the thing that I'm more curious about is that low eye. We talk about power and eye being the key to hitters this year. You're not getting a lot of eye there, Kidneys. Is this an unplayable card because of that eye?
This is how I felt last night at 5 in the morning, trying to read my chat like 2 feet away from my face, and I was having trouble doing it. And I think that's about my evaluation of Lou Brock. I probably wouldn't play him. I will say, I know a lot of people have commented a little memingly on my Power and I love this year. If you go back and watch old Kidneys, all I care about was BABIP. Like in 21, it was a little different. 22 is different in 23. I just like the ratings that are good. Sometimes there's certain ratings, sometimes there are other ratings. Right now, if you're playing tournaments, you should probably prioritize Power and I, but like obviously there are a few deal breakers, right? Like you'll play Jimmy Ryan and Iron, you'll play probably Yelich and Low Diamond. Like there's certain cards that are just good enough to be better. As for league play, and a lot of people have been asking about league play. League play doesn't really matter yet, but if you want to build a league team, put a lot more priority into defense and BABIP and Ks and all that, because it's not kind of being suppressed like it is in tournaments. I think that's something a lot of people are missing right now. Power and I hitters are still going to be good, but like they're not the end all be all almost like they are in tournaments at the moment. So
cool. Brian Roberts from the Orioles. Just kind of an average, kind of meh kind of card. High gold. Not a lot of utility probably for this card here. His defense isn't good enough. I mean, he's got some speed, gap power, but otherwise,
Somebody asked me if I would play this in dead ball, because if you don't know about dead ball, so when a tournament says it takes place in 1919, that's what we're referring to. In dead ball, home runs are a lot fewer, right? And error rating plays up a ton. Someone's like, would you play this in dead ball? I don't think so. I think I would stay with Jonathan VR is what I did yesterday. I did win the Low Diamond dead ball yesterday, but that was because Chimera let me see his model, and I just built a team off Chimera's dead ball model because I don't have a dead ball model because it's so different. I would probably stick with VR. I will say this card grades out a lot better than I expected. for a few reasons, right? It's a switch hitter. It actually just has a lot of numbers. We were literally just talking about, if a card has a lot of numbers, it can sometimes make up the gaps. It's also a very good base running profile, right? 87 speed, 95 stealing. It's going to steal a lot of bases. The defense is probably worse than I'm saying it is, but I think overall you could certainly play this card if you didn't believe in VR, which I know not a lot of people do. I'm pretty big on VR though, and you're playing Strang somewhere else. Maybe this is the card you want. I don't know. I'm just playing bats everywhere right now in tournaments, so I'll play Bill Joyce at second, but it's a solid card for sure.
And then we get to the diamonds, and one of the diamonds, of course, Paul Sporer and Dishnet, big fans of the Detroit Tigers. And so this 94 card, Chris Shelton, we can see Dish down there in the bottom corner. But when he first introduced the card, this is a classic. This is a classic look for Dish here. Mm-hmm. He was excited with the Chris Shelton card. I kind of like it. We kind of mentioned before that this seems to be a pretty good card against the right-handed pitchers. Defense, I don't know, maybe you want to play him at DH. The question I have is, with so many good first basemen either in the game or we know are coming to the game, can you play this card long-term in your perfect leagues?
A few things I'll talk about on this card. I'm going to talk about the lore first because it's really fun. So a few weeks ago, I've been using Adam Duvall to explain sample size to people, right? Because if I go ask people, right, what's the best hitter in baseball, nobody's going to say Adam Duvall. But if you look at the stats, it's probably Adam Duvall. And obviously he's hurt and he's probably not playing for a few more weeks. But people need to stop looking at stats when they're evaluating their cards as much. Just pay close attention to the ratings and how the ratings work, and you'll learn how the cards play. There isn't this crazy mystery going on. There's no conspiracy against you and your team. The ratings are pretty dang accurate. You just need more data. People don't realize that it's almost impossible for you to get enough data on just the version of the card you're playing. That being said, when I was talking to Staleman about Duvall, he brought up Chris Shelton as probably the funniest, small sample size player in all of baseball history, right? Chanel Man, wonderful, world famous baseball historian that he is, brought this up. And I was like, that's crazy. This is probably one of the craziest months in baseball history. And then you look at the rest of his career and it's a very different story. And Chris Shelton is a great example of small sample size and why you need more data. Would I play the card? No. I think it falls a little bit short over some of the other meta first basemen. I think first basemen are really, really strong this year right now as a collective class of hitters. Now I'm looking at some guys like Ryan Howard VR, Mo Vaughn either way, Rudy York's up there, Bob Allison, Dolph Camellia. Those top five are probably a little better than this card. I do think it's a really solid card, though. It's just I think the other five are really, really, really strong. It's going to be hard for people to dethrone them. So, low diamond and below is the names I listed because it's a 94, right? So.
Yeah, first base is always tough, isn't it? Because you have so many players in history that have great careers, and then you get those 2 or 3 or 4 meta, and then you got the Lou probably coming out, very soon as well, like last year, and he's probably going to jump up, and then the Pujols, and yeah, it is a tough position for some of these really good players to get playing time in Perfect League. Next, we've got Tom Cheney, or Cheney. High pitcher BABIP, kind of low on the home run there. What do you think?
This card's nuts. I think it's very good. I had a few questions when I first looked at it. Stuff specifically is giving me a few issues in math right now, but it's the top end, not the bottom end, right? So I'm having a little trouble. Just there aren't cards in the meta being played that look like Silver Bob Feller or Gold Ryan Duran. And that's kind of the thing I'm struggling with a little bit right now. There's a few fixes I've coming up with. We're going to put some in place and it might give us better. I was a little bit afraid this card wouldn't strike out enough players. There's a soft cap for strikeouts in the floor and out of the park, and if you're like at that soft cap, it's really, really bad. So maybe this card struggles a bit long term, but the ability to prevent base runners on it is so absurd with the high PBABIP and the high control. I would certainly play this card in modern JDA. I think it's very, very good. It's probably one of the best diamond pitchers right now. And especially in the 1919 dead ball stuff, the card is even more crazy when strikeouts matter a little bit less and home runs matter a lot less as well. So,
yeah. And again, you probably might know the numbers better than I do, but is this the highest pitcher BABIP card we've seen so far, or do we have some that are over 106?
So there is a gold reliever who I have being the best reliever in quite a few formats, who says 128 pitcher BABIP VR, and he has some really respectable VR stats, which is Tom Niedenfuhr. That card is excellent versus righties, a little weak versus left, but good enough. You should probably play him. So,
and there goes the run on the card shop. If there's even any available, I mean, the word has gotten.
Yeah, he was number one on the spreadsheet I posted last night, so I'm sure quite a few people are getting him. Yeah, and there's also a hitter with 110 pitcher BABIP, like a hitter with 110 pitcher BABIP, that last night at 4 a.m, we found a way to make the game throw him as a pitcher, and we did it in the daily gold cap, and the results were about as you expected. He got through the first inning, only gave up 2 runs, and then walked about 7 batters in a row, gave up 7 more runs, and got pulled from the game. But it was it was great. I will be doing it as often as I can now that we've found a way to automate it. And you can't stop me out of the park. I'm playing Wayne Gross as a pitcher in tournaments.
Isn't this game great when you can have fun like that and, get away from kind of the serious competition in tournaments and just use some of these cards and just see if you can break them or how they perform with the ratings they have?
Well, it's the best part of the game. Absolutely. Like, the guy pitched 2 innings in his career and has a career BABIP against of around 220. And the game gave him this huge pitcher BABIP rating. And so it lets you make him a pitcher, but if you put him in your rotation or give him a bullpen role and then hit submit, it kicks him out. So in one place in the game, it's like he's a pitcher. In another place in the game, it's saying he's not a pitcher. So here's what you do. You set your rotation. It has to be 6-man rotation, but you leave the first spot empty. And then you can give him a secondary role of emergency starting pitcher. And he'll pitch every 6 days. You can't make him pitch every 5 days. He actually doesn't have enough stamina. He goes from 3% to 100% on the 6th day because the game doesn't just track pitches at all after a 6-day period or 5-day. Like 5 days in the past is up, right? This card is obviously excellent. The question, like Mark Burley, is how excellent is this card? Really crazy card, right? Lefty, reverse split lefty. I don't know. I saw some people talking that he had like a career. I don't know if it was for the month or for his career that this card's from, like 187 BABIP VL, but we got a 99 on it, so that's really fun. I love this card. To me, I have it being a little bit better than Rudy York both ways, which is really crazy because I had Rudy York as the best diamond and below first baseman going into today. So he does grade number 1 in diamond below. I think he's below some of the perfects outside of that. I mean, he's very comparable to Buck Leonard and Rudy York and like VR VL, he's also comparable to a few other guys. VR, like you could throw Todd Helton or Mo Vaughn in the mix. This is a really, really good, really solid first baseman. You could also play him in left field in tournaments, and it wouldn't be Gosh, would I do it? Would I play this card in left field so I could play York at first? I might do it. In terms of DH, I think Manny Ramirez is still a little bit higher, but this card is breathing right down his neck. They're all very, very good cards. So
Eric Thames, the next kind of meta card that many people are probably going to get. I asked if anyone has one or seen one on the card shop yet. None on the card shop. Top buy order is about 30K, but we know that this card is going to go for quite a bit more.
yeah, I think addressing Khan's point, I know a lot of people have Buck Leonard probably quite a bit higher than I do. I do think Buck Leonard is like by quite a bit the best VR diamond first baseman. I know some people I think have him as the best in the game. I just have like, if you're playing a first base non-platoon, probably would rather this card, I think, but it's certainly close. Leonard's definitely a top option up there. So,
and someone asking where they can access that spreadsheet that you mentioned. I'm assuming that's on your Discord right now.
it is in the Discord. There's also a tiny world. I sent you the Discord link in the StreamYard, but I can get you the.
Yeah, no, it's
tiny
I just
URL
posted
too.
it right now. It should be
All
up
right,
on
great.
in the chat there.
I
All right.
think.
Yeah.
You can link this one if you want, or I can get you the smaller link. But
Okay. Yeah. EVC just posted it as well.
EBC's got it as well. Thanks, guys. That's
All right.
that's great.
The perfect cards.
The
Mike Adams.
perfect cards. Mike Adams. I know everybody looked at this card and went best pitcher in the game. It's very, very close. But I still have my main man, Joe Barry, as the number one pitcher in my ideal world. I think Joe Barry is ludicrous. This card is also ludicrous, though. Like, the gap between Joe Barry to this is decent, but, like, then the gap between this card to Joss is also really fun. This card's crazy. He will be a top-end reliever probably for a very long time. It's a reliever. There's not too much to say about it. Don't put this in cap tournaments or like things like that. But like if you have this, you're playing open league play. It's absolutely on the team. It's a ridiculous card.
And the final perfect from EVC's Los Angeles Dodgers, Cody Bellinger.
I'm probably gonna surprise a bit of people right now. This is easily one of the best cards in the game. Like very easily. I have it. Let's double check. It's like top 3, top 5 VR bat in the whole game. It plays really elite outfield defense. You're probably gonna want it in center field VR. I don't know what else to say. There's gonna be a spot. Yeah, it's almost like if Topps Bets were a lefty. It's pretty. Actually, that's like a fantastic comparison. JDA. This card is just top notch. Any sort of high-end open tournament league play, whatever, you're gonna want to have this card on your team. Is it good enough to play both ways? Is more of the bigger question. You probably want to find a little buddy for it. The nice thing is if it's not a cap tournament, man, this card lines up really, really nicely with Mookie Betts, doesn't it? They're like, you combine them and you make by far the best card in the game. Yeah, this card's awesome. Very, very pleased with this one. So.
And as EVC mentioned, yes, he plays for the Cubs now, and EVC is in Chicago and heading to a Cubs game tonight. So going to be an interesting game. I hope the weather holds out. I know yesterday on your stream, EVC, you were talking about poor weather in Chicago. Might be a rain out. So hopefully you get to the game tonight and catch some of the action. Yes, Betts and Bellinger. What a combination. All right, cards of the set. I don't know if you have a specific one that stands out, whether it's a pitcher or a batter, reliever. What do you think?
For me, I think like if I had to say I want one card out of this set, like far more than all the other cards. Oh, it's hard to not say Bellinger, but that's such the easy answer. Yeah. I forget his name. I'm gonna say the 96 diamond pitcher. I think I would very much like him on a lot of my teams I'm making right now. So
Tom Cheney?
Tom Cheney, yes. Tom Cheney would be the card I think of the set for me, but Bellinger probably be the card of the set for most people. So.
Yeah, and for me, just because I kind of have a soft spot for relievers, it would be the Mike Adams. I'd love to have a Mike Adams. Like you said, the long-term impact, he's going to, as you mentioned, going to be a very good reliever for a very long time in the game. So for me, it's the reliever, Mike Adams. Well, it is that time to kind of put our cards to the test and see if we can pull some of the cards that were released today. The Generation Showdown with the Gen X up on Zoomer 2-0. So I'll let Kidneys take some time to get his game set up. The way that the Generation Showdown works is that we assign points to specific cards that we pull in packs. So a perfect or LE card, 7 points, diamond card, 5, card from today, 4 points, any gold card, 2 points, and then the mystery point card. So let's find out what that mystery point card is here on the wheel. Let's give it a spin.
Oh, wow.
We've got the Lap Extra Pack. Oh, well, hey, just build up a big enough lead and you don't have to worry about that extra pack. So,
yeah, because that's been going so well for me so far, you know?
All right, you get to go first. This is the third game in a 3-game set, and then we go back to your home turf next week, and I'll pull first. But 10 packs, let her rip.
Let's do it. Nothing here. Let's keep going. 0 for 2.
0 for 2.
0 for 3. This is looking fairly reminiscent of all the other ones we've done so far.
0 for 4. Pack number 5. I don't see a gold.
A little silver, but...
Number 6. Number 7.
Can I just pull a Bellinger right now? Give me 11 points in one card is probably about the only thing that would save me here.
Or a Burley. Burley would be nice. Well,
that's it. Not 1 point. Not 1 point. That's rough.
We're just having a moment of silence here.
That's pretty bad.
That pack pull. Whoa! I don't think we'll ever see that again. So all of you out there that talk about streamer luck, and that the streamers are pulling all the good cards, not in that one. So if I need my extra pack, we will use it, and I probably will just to add any extra points that we might need. But all I need is a gold. A gold will do it. Let's start ripping here. If it lets me. There we go. All right, pack 1, nothing. 2. This is like dead ball era. Nothing going on.
It
3.
is kind of dead ball era, isn't it?
Pack 4. Pack 5. Oh, there we go. I don't even feel like celebrating because it was just too easy to do that. So pack number 5.
There we go.
Getting beat by Jose Alvarado. 5 to go. Let's see if we can pull a card from today. 6. Pack 7. Another gold. Hey, what do you think of the Slim Jones?
That is an excellent card. That's a fantastic pull. That's a really good card.
All right, take a quick peek at him. Yeah, someone's willing to pay 10K for him. 3 more, and then the bonus. 2 more packs.
Slim is great.
1 more, and now the bonus pack. Let's see if we can pull. a Bellinger. Nope, we got a diamond. Maybe it will be that diamond card that you talked about earlier. So diamond card to end off the Zoomer Gen X challenge. Tim Wallach. I'll take it.
Ooh. Is
Not
he
part of any?
No. But yeah. No, nice card.
Yeah. All right. Well, that takes us to, let me just go back to the main screen here. And you know what time it is? It is time for the Kidneys 2-minute rant. So you probably thought long and hard about this topic, haven't you? Or is it kind of right off the top of your head here?
Literally not at all. Not one thought about this because I was a bit preoccupied yesterday. We had some last minute spreadsheet issues, as we always do.
Yes. It's been a long couple of days for some of the affiliates and for Kidneys again being up most of the night last night. But we'll see what he's got. We'll see what he's got for this 9th inning stretch here. So Kidneys, the floor is yours with your 2-minute rant.
Fine. All right. I'm looking. We'll talk about something I've talked about for a bit. We can go. All right. This applies a lot more in tournaments than it does the league play. So again, take this little pinch of salt here. Don't go do this, right? If I'm building a tournament team and I go here and I say I want a shortstop, don't do this. Don't just play this card or play this card or this one. You see the pattern here? What is this card doing with the vast majority of the card? Nothing. I think there's a lot of baseball philosophy that would back this up. I'm not a super big stats nerd, but I've done a lot of work over the past 3 years now researching stats to try and figure out how to quantify this game a little bit better. Having 0 bats is like a bat that's going to give you nothing, right? Essentially, is pretty terrible almost all the time in baseball. You can do 1 or 2 of them, but if you start building your team and it's like, hey, I have 6 or 7 of these guys, I'm playing the best clubs. It's a lot harder fundamentally to have a team win when both these numbers are low, right? You're trying to just get a big gap between the numbers. And if it shows you're the best in runs against, but you're also last place in runs scored, you're actually better trying to marginalize your gap. You get far bigger win rates out of doing things. And I think a lot of times people are really looking for cards to be 2-dimensional, right? Where it's this is good and this is bad. And like I've said quite a few times, every single rating on this card is basically important except for the sack bunt. That's why Poploid doesn't need it. Get the most out of your cards. Don't dumb everything down, right? That's about it. So,
all right, there is the Kidneys rant for today, and the contest is underway, guys. I already clicked the contest entry timer here, so get your contest entries in. Exclamation ticket or exclamation enter. Either one of those will get you entered into the contest. We are going to let it run for about another minute here before we draw the winners. Big thank you again to Your Kidneys, not only for coming on today to the Hawk Report number 4, but also to for all his efforts in the streaming over the last 24 hours and more to come from Kidneys channel. So go check him out, twitch.tv/YourKidneys. Do you have another stream planned in the near future? Do you know when you're going to be on next?
I'll tell you about a few things. So first off, what cards was I looking at? Because I totally forgot I'm not the person streaming and y'all can't see my screen at all times. I just sorted my collection by shortstop defense and then went down the list, and pretty much none of them you should play if you sort your collection by that. And then I opened, I think it was Duke Schneider, and I just showed how he's got a lot more beautiful colors and he's a much better card. There's a theme team I started last night. Shout out to EVC. We're doing a theme of players who have words in their name that I am allergic to. I have a huge list of allergies. It's already a very fun theme. The other caveat with it is that it is a reverse packs only team. If you haven't heard of that before, I don't think anyone's done this before. So whenever I open a pack, I have to immediately sell every single card in the pack, either to the highest buy order or list it for minimum value. That's the caveat on the team. And then I use the funds to build the rest of the team. So that's my theme team this year, is those two things combined. Shout out to theme team guys. They're great. So we did that last night. I'll probably be streaming in the next few days. There's a lot of work still to do with the spreadsheet I put out, so we'll get a 1.1 out for you guys. We'll get some of the people already talking about different features. There's of course a few bugs and everything, right? So we'll make that a bit better, and maybe sometime this weekend, early next week, I'll be there. I'll definitely take a day or two off now, though, after I think I've streamed for 8-10 hours. How do you do? I know like Spore does this all the time. How do you do 8-10 hours straight? I can't even do it in like 24 hours. It's crazy to me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. 10 hours standing on your head. I mean, I feel like you could, Paul, which is, you did 22. Oh my gosh. I talk too much. It's like I'm putting 22 hours of content into 2 hours with how loud I am. But thank you again for having me on. I always love doing the show. This was a really strong content set. You know, sometimes we get fun content sets and sometimes we get powerful ones. This was kind of both. There's a huge impact on a lot of metas from this content set. So for me, that makes it really exciting because I'm a little sweaty tryhard. So
I know you teased yesterday about the theme team. You said, I'm going to do a theme team that no one's ever done before. And
I did say that.
Yeah, I think you kind of proved that out. So with the selling of the cards, that's an interesting twist for your theme team. So I think there's going to be some people that get some good deals.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well, go get some sleep, young man. Go watch Step Brothers when you have a chance. Talladega Nights. Have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful weekend, and we'll see you along the line somewhere, probably in Discord.
Yep. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks,
GG's.
All right, we'll give you another minute in the contest here, guys. One more minute to get your entry in. Exclamation ticket, exclamation, enter either one of those. And then we're going to close it off in about 45 seconds. Got 85 entries so far. And just like I did yesterday, whoever I draw first, I will give them the choice if they want a code, a key for OOTP, whether it's Steam or whether it's the PC Mac code, or whether they want the 20 standard packs. Please give OOTP time some time to deliver these to your account. It's probably not going to be maybe until Monday at the very latest. We're not going to even process these until after all the Streamathon is done. And then we've got many names to pass along to the team that will distribute the packs and the code. So stay patient. We will get those out to the winners in the next few days. And thanks for all of you that have been participating. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Giveaway is closed. The giveaway is closed with 92 entries. All right. First person, choice of a key or 20 packs is NJ Dan Esquire. NJ Dan ESQ. Congratulations, NJ Dan ESQ. So if you can either in the chat or click on my name and send me a whisper, let me know if you want the packs or the key. So we'll give you a minute, again, just in case we have to draw someone else. NJ Dan ESQ. Either a whisper or in the chat. And again, you guys don't have to click off or anything like that. I will take you directly to the next streamer, Dr. Dynastic, with his great content. He will be doing giveaways as well. So just have to sit back and you will automatically go when we raid over there. All right, one more minute. NJ Dan ESQ. One more minute. There we go. That's you. You would like the packs. All right. So if you can send me, again, in the chat here or a whisper, your perfect team username. So I need your perfect team username in the chat or in a Twitch whisper. All right. The winner of a game code for Steam or for the PC Mac is going to be Revan Fan. Congratulations. You won the second part to the giveaway. So I do need Revan Fan to send me a whisper so that I have it on record, so that when I do get the code to send out, I can just do it through the whisper. So if you can click on my name and click the whisper option and let me know if you want a Steam version or you want the PC Mac version. And again, we'll give some time just in case we need to do a redraw here. Never whispered before? Yeah, just click on my name there and you should be able to see the whisper option. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Hawk episode number 4. And thank you again to Your Kidneys, the Stepbrother episode. We'll see you again on Monday for the regular stream at 1 p.m. Eastern. Going to raid over to Dr. Dynastic. Hang on for a sec. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.